Okay, I'm going to start off teaching you the table spread flourish. And this is something you've probably seen on TV. It's very easy to learn. Now, here's the key. Spreading the cards is the most difficult part. Playing with them is easy. If I set these cards up for you, they're just like dominoes. Any little kid could move these back and forth. They can play with them. Once they got that nice even spread, possibilities are endless. And I'll show you some of the tricks you can do once you learn this nice even spread. Okay, I'm going to have the camera pan in so you can see exactly how I work the spread. The first thing you want to do is get a good feel for how long the spread should be. So just put your arm down, the one you're going to spread the cards with, and from your elbow to your fingertips, this is about the perfect distance for a card spread. And in time, you'll get about that perfect distance when you do it. Now, how do you hold the cards? You're going to put 3 fingers, starting with your pinky, ring, and middle on the back of the cards on this side. Your thumb on the other side. They're like a brace. Your pointer finger does all the work for this trick. It applies the pressure on these cards. Your other fingers are just a brace, and they're just going to keep the cards in place while your pointer finger applies pressure. And it'll learn exactly how much pressure to apply, but this takes time. Now, when you're first learning, you'll be tempted to try to play with these cards. Don't play with them until you get good at making a nice, perfect, even spread. Remember, this pointer finger pushes down on the cards. And you need a new deck, or a newer deck, I should say. And just keep practicing. Keep spreading them. And once you spread them out, here's how you pick them up. Push down with your other hand, push down with your thumb, lift up on the card. See how this braces the cards? Pick up and slide your hand across the table. This makes for a nice even scoop up. So you've learned the spread. Now you've learned the scoop. You do this for at least 20-30 minutes. Get smooth at doing these things, spreading and scooping. Once you've mastered this, I'm going to show you some tricks you can do once you learn to get a nice even spread. One thing very important, and that is the surface you're spreading on. Make sure that you have a felt surface or a carpet. Do it on the floor, on the carpet. You can't do this on a hardwood or flat surface. It has to be a felt or carpet surface. And you need newer cards. I suggest Bicycle brand playing cards. They're the best. You've mastered the spread. You can do it in your sleep, no problem. Here's some tricks you can do once you learn it, and you'll actually come up with some of your own tricks. But the first one I'm going to teach you, I call it the wave. And it's simply moving the cards back and forth. And you can do this several times if you have a good deck of playing cards. And what you do is you spread the cards. Now you pick them up like you're going to scoop them. Remember, you push down with your thumb. That way it doesn't mess anything up. Use your pointer finger to lift up the cards. And instead of scooping them, you're just going to snap your pointer finger across. And it'll make the cards go across. And then when they come over here, catch them. And again, your pointer finger is going to snap them back. Once again, spread them, lift up, snap across, snap back. And when you're doing this, watch for breaks in the cards. By breaks, I mean little mess-ups, where the cards look like they're going to break up. Like right here, the cards are starting to break up. I know if I try it again, it's going to mess up right there, and it just did. So watch for breaks. I usually just fan them back and forth a couple of times, shoop, shoop, and I'm done. All riding the wave. And simply, you just do a card spread, and instead of making the wave go back and forth, you use your finger or your thumb to ride the wave. Or some people, they really like to see another playing card be used to ride the wave. And very simply, you just spread the cards. And now you're going to pick this card over here. It's the one that won't mess up your spread. Pick it up, come over, put it flat down underneath the cards. Then lift up and simply just let the card go back and forth. Now, a lot of people, they want to do this. Pick it up and go like that. Remember to turn the card up. And your finger works the same way. You simply just pick up the cards, and I like to use my thumb to ride across the wave. Okay, this is called freezing and splitting the wave. If you want to stop the wave in the middle, all you do is tap the other side, or push down on the other side like this. Push down, that stops your wave in the middle. Now to split it, you take your thumbs and you push down just slightly, and now pull back. And now your hands, both of them, are going to scoop the cards, and you're finished. Once again in fast motion, split. I'm going to give you 3 tips for this section, just to remember. Remember, use your pointer finger to apply the pressure on top of the cards. Remember to get the spread the proper distance, elbow to fingertips. And most importantly, resist the temptation to play with the cards before you get good at spreading them. Because if you have a terrible spread, and you're sitting there trying to pick these cards up, it's going to take you forever to learn this. Or some people like to sit down and actually build a perfect spread and then play with it. Don't waste your time. Just sit there and spread the cards. And eventually, your muscle memory will take over and it'll spread it out nice and evenly. And it's just like riding a bike. Once you learn how, it's almost difficult to not spread them perfectly. Okay, this is the Charlier or basic one-hand cut. First I'm going to teach you the grip. Set it in the hand you're going to cut with. And I'm left-handed and I actually use my right hand to cut cards. But it's up to you. Play with both sides. Set them in your hand. Now simply bring your pointer finger and your pinky to the sides. So you have 2 fingers here, the middle finger and ring finger, holding the bottom of the deck, and you have the pinky finger and pointer finger, and your thumb is loose. Now notice in this cut you're going to freeze. This is actually called the straddle grip. I call it the death grip because the cards can't get away. Now once you get it in the death grip, take your thumb. It's the only finger that moves. Notice, 1 finger at a time moves. Everything else freezes. Simply set it against the deck, about the middle of the deck. Not inside the deck, just against the deck. Now let half the deck drop down in your hand. Now freeze. The thumb doesn't move now. Now the pointer finger moves. It lifts up the bottom half of the deck. Lifts up and drop down. And that's simply it. The thumb lets half the deck drop down. Now the pointer finger lifts up and down. Boom, boom, boom. It's that simple. Okay, I'm going to give you some tips on this cut. Remember, just like I said, move 1 finger at a time. First the thumb. Now the pointer finger. And here will be a big mistake you'll try to make. You'll try to move your thumb right now. And now cards will come flying up here. They'll just start going everywhere because you move your thumb too soon. So remember, hold that thumb. Hold it until you don't even know it's passed. It just goes right through and oh, you had to finally move it. Okay, this next cut is called the swivel cut, or actually magicians call this the longitudinal cut, but I can't pronounce longitudinal. So I'm going to go with the swivel cut, and here's how it works. You put the cards, just like in the basic one-hand cut, in the death grip position. You have 2 fingers down here, the 2 middle fingers, and your pinky and pointer finger around the sides. That's the grip. Now, you bring your thumb to your pinky side, and you're going to simply pull off half the deck. Pull it up, and it's going to swivel on your pointer finger around. Let me see if I can get a better camera angle of that. Okay, you know what the thumb's doing. It's coming over here, grabbing half the deck. See how it swivels on this pointer finger? It swivels out. Now this is a very difficult cut to learn at first because your hand is not flexible enough. You'll think I don't have big enough hands. Trust me, my hands are not very big. What you have to do is swivel it out and stretch your hand way out. Just keep going and then tuck it back inside. Once again from a different angle, out and in. Out and in. And that's the swivel cut. Okay. Okay, this next cut I call the spider cut. And some magicians call this the reverse cut, but I like the spidery motion of my fingers. And I've renamed it the spider cut. Here's how it works. Hold the cards. Now this is not going to be in the death grip. Just set the cards in your hand, as if getting ready to deal out the cards. I call it a dealer's grip. Now, what you're going to do, your thumb's on top of the deck. All your other fingers are right against the edge of the deck. Now, use your middle finger. Lift up on half of the deck. Lift it up. And now, stick inside your ring finger. Stick it inside the deck. And now, push your pointer finger and your pinky on top of the deck. Now what this does, it makes a clamp. You've got the two fingers up here clamping, and you've got that ring finger inside. And that allows you to open up the deck. Now when you open up the deck, use your pointer finger to lift up the deck and then set it right back down. It's hard to do in slow motion. But once again, remember, ring finger up, middle finger up, ring finger inside, clamp it, swivel it back, pointer finger lifts up, and right back on. And in fast motion, good. Good. And that's the spider cut. Okay, here's a little tip for the spider cut. Here will be your problem. You'll get it to this point right here. You'll lift the cards up, and now you won't be able to get these cards to go flat down. What you have to do is your ring finger is still inside there. It's right here. You're going to have to give it a little flick like that. Flick. You can't see it because it's inside. I'll use my other hand. Like this. And that makes the deck fall down. It's just a matter of giving a little flick with that ring finger. Right there. Flick. Now once you master your one-hand cuts, learn them with your offhand. And that way you can cut the cards with both hands. Here's the basic cut. Swivel cut. I'm not sure if I can actually do a spider cut with both hands. Decent. But here's how you do that. Here's how you set up to cut the cards with both hands. If you don't have two decks, you just take one and you simply hold it in your hands, and your thumb keeps half the deck in place while you let the other half fall down, and then push it over like this. Now you have the cards how you want them, and now you can put them in the death grip and go ahead and do your cuts. And then to put it back in place, just spin it back over. Spin, spin. Boom, boom, boom. Do your cut, then spin. And if you do this smooth, it'll look like almost one motion. This is called the spring flourish. You spring the cards from hand to hand. You've seen people do it on TV. Let me show you how it's done. Hold the deck. 4 fingers on one side, thumb on the other. They're right against, flush against the side of the deck. Fingertips right against the bottom of the deck. Now, take your other hand and push up on the deck in the middle and bow the cards like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to let the cards come off your thumb, not your fingertips, your thumb. And that's going to let the cards shoot down. Take your hand and put it right below it, just a few inches below. And let those cards shoot off your thumb. Get good at doing this, just a few inches below. Just push up and now let them come off your thumb. Let them go all the way through. Don't go chick, 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 chick. Don't do that. Do all the way through. And as you get better, you can go just a little bit higher. Remember, let them come off your thumb, because if they start shooting off your fingertips, you're going to be playing 52 card pickup. So make sure they come off your thumb. Now, let me show you a beginner's trick, and this is something I still do if you watch closely. What you can do is you can set yourself up a brace to keep the cards from going everywhere. You've got a four-way brace. Your thumb is one side of the brace. Your fingers are the other side of the brace. The back of the brace is your stomach. Now you're shooting the cards off your thumb, so they have to come towards my body. See how they're hitting my stomach? The stomach, make sure those cards don't go too far that way. Now if you try to do this out in midair, you didn't even notice it, but I dropped some cards on the floor there. If you try to do this out in midair, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So do it against your stomach. And as you get good, you can go higher and higher. My max is about 2 feet in the air if I've got a really good deck. So keep playing with that spring flourish. Okay, I'm going to teach you a variation of the spring flourish. I see magicians doing this on TV. When they're just standing around and getting ready to do a trick, this is how they do a spring flourish. It's much more light. It's much more relaxed. You don't have this big noise. You just kind of fan through the cards. It's still a very pretty flourish. Here's how they do it. Same grip, just as if you're going to do the spring flourish. And what you're going to do is take your pointer finger, put it on top of the deck, and bow it the other way. So instead of coming this way, you're coming this way. Now you just let the cards shoot off of your fingers and thumb evenly. Watch. Evenly. Just do it real close. Just right in your hand. And as you get better, you can go higher and higher. The Ed Marlowe snap trick, and it's simply a way to reveal a card, and then the card changes to another card. And this is a way to reveal a trick at the end, a card at the end of a magic trick. Okay, here's how it works. Very simply, you take 2 cards as 1 card. And I always use a red and a black card. That way it's real easy to see the difference in the change. Now put them together just like they're 1 card. Now you're going to pick them up like they're simply 1 card. Here's the grip. Middle finger across the middle of the card. On the back is the thumb. The thumb and the middle finger have this card clipped. Now, it's very simple. It's just like turning the ignition in a car. What you're going to do is you're going to turn, spin. The pointer finger is going to, the middle finger is going to push the card down and away. And the thumb is going to snap this other card up. So it's just a twisting motion. Once again, slow motion. Snap. You just snap your fingers. Just like if you're going to snap your fingers. You're going to snap. And 1 card is going to shoot down, and 1 card is going to shoot out. Now, how do you hide that? Now, you saw me doing it straight on. And that takes perfect angle work. Being able to get a person in just the right angle to where this cannot be seen. See this card? It's hidden. So you need to make sure they're at that angle. It's very difficult. I don't even advise it. Here's the way I advise doing this trick. Watch. This deck is going to hide the card I lose. Snap. Boom. See how that worked? It was almost faster than you could pick up. But watch in slow motion what happened there. I snapped the card down, and the one that's down, the one I'm trying to get rid of, I set it right on top of the deck. Just bam, and I'm clean. Once again. Snap, and the card goes down. This is called the aerodynamic card drop. The card on top turns over to reveal the card they've chosen. It's just a way to display a card once you reveal it. Here's how it works. You're going to take the deck and you're going to hold it as in the dealer's grip, as if you're getting ready to deal the cards. And now simply take your thumb and push the top card over. Just slide it over like this. And now you can see there's a little bit of that top card off the edge. Now as you drop the cards, you're going to bring your other hand and they're going to hold the deck like this. As you drop the cards, let them drop straight down at a certain distance. And you have to play with the right distance. At that perfect distance, that top card will flip over because the air will cause it to flip. And that's the aerodynamic card drop. I'm going to teach you a few tips. First of all, you need to make sure you have a wooden surface. Wooden, hard, solid surface. Now, when you drop this, if it doesn't work out perfect, let's say they drop and this card goes shooting off here. We'll just pretend that's what you meant to do and pick up their card and reveal it to them. Or sometimes you may drop them and the card just doesn't do anything. Well, pick them up, say let's try it again. Give them a little shake, set it up again, and this time maybe drop it higher. This is the one-handed deal. And I use this to reveal a card from the deck. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to pan in on the angle so you can see. Okay, for the one-handed deal, here's the grip. You're holding the cards just as if you're going to deal them. It's in the dealer's grip. Just as if you're getting ready to deal out cards. Now, here's what you do. Take your thumb, push the top card just slightly out over the edge. Now bring your pinky finger, pull it, catch the corner of this card. And what you're going to do is you're going to push it against the flesh of your hand. Push it in like this and let it pop out. So once again, thumb pushes the card to the side a little bit. The pinky finger catches the corner, pushes it against your hand, and makes it kick off just like that. Boom. Boom. And you can deal the cards. Of course, that takes a little practice and a little timing. What you saw me doing was catching the card out of the air. And that takes timing also. But first, just get good at making the card snap off of your hand. And that's the one-handed deal. Okay, the one-handed shuffle. This trick took me a year to learn, so be patient with it. Here's how it goes. Start off by, first of all, you need to bow the cards. Don't ask me why, but it doesn't work unless you do it. So take your thumb and push in on the cards and get them bowed, bent, good and bent. Now, hold it in the death grip, just like you're getting ready to do a one-hand cut. Get it in the death grip. Now, take the pointer finger, turn the deck straight like this, split open the deck in half. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to stick this pointer finger inside the deck. And you're going to spread your hand as you glide your pointer finger across that card till you get it split in half. Trapped between your pointer finger between the two decks. They're trapped there. Now, you're going to interlace these cards. And you're going to do this by using your pinky finger to squeeze and your thumb to squeeze the bottom of the decks together. So they're going to squeeze together the decks, interlacing the decks. Now you simply turn the decks upside down, squeeze them, and let them riffle. And that's the one-handed shuffle. It's very difficult to do in slow motion, but that's exactly how you do it. Okay, let me show you a few tips about the one-hand shuffle. Always remember to bow these cards. If you don't, it won't work. And most importantly, this is a big secret here. When you are sliding these decks apart, remember to use your fingernail to slide against that card. If you use the flesh of your finger, the card will move. It'll start coming out. So use your fingernail to slide against that card to separate the deck into two. That's the biggest trick of this. Remember to use that fingernail. I was just going to tell you a little tip about the one-handed shuffle. What I usually do is I show some people some one-handed cuts, and then I say, you know, I saw a guy on TV one time, he could shuffle a deck with one hand, something like this, and then I do it. Because the one-handed shuffle, even after you practice it for almost years, you're only going to have about a 70 to 80% chance of pulling this thing off. So you may mess up. So have yourself an out there by saying, you know, I saw it on TV, it went something like this. And that way when you pull it off, they'll be like, whoa. Okay, before I teach you how to set the deck, keep one thing in mind. A set deck just simply means the dealer has the deck set in his favor. It may be by one card, he may know the bottom card, he may know the top card. He may have several cards planted inside, or he may have the whole deck set. So keep that in mind. Set deck doesn't necessarily mean the whole deck's set up. What we do now is called bottom loading. This is how to set the deck to put 4 or 5 good cards on the bottom of the deck that you want to deal off to you and your partner. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you also how to reset the deck once someone cuts it, which is the most important part of this trick. Okay, it's just now getting to be your turn to deal the cards, and we just finished playing a hand. Hopefully you kept an eye on a couple of tricks, a couple of books that you want for you and your partner. Now let's just pretend I saw this one book. It had the ace of spades, the queen of spades, jack of spades, 7 of spades. It's 4 good cards I like for me and my partner to have. So I keep an eye on that book. And now this is my turn to deal. I'm dragging the cards. I'm just going to keep an eye on where those are at. And I also keep an eye on a dummy card, the 3 of hearts. The 3 of hearts is a card that nobody wants. So I just keep it on the very bottom. And now as I pick these cards up, they go on the bottom of the deck. Now I've got the cards set just like I want them. This is not difficult, obviously. You've got your dummy card on the very bottom with 3 cards. Then you've got your 4 good cards. Okay, the deck is now set, and I'm going to begin shuffling. Notice as I shuffle, obviously I let the dummy card and those 4 cards hit the table, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I shuffle the rest of the cards in. Now obviously this is not difficult. What we've done here so far, hopefully you could have figured out by yourself, no offense. Very simple setup. We've got cards we want on the bottom. We've shuffled them a few times, fake. Now it comes the time to where I am going to have to set the deck over here and let this guy cut the cards. Now here comes problems, because the minute he cuts those cards, everything we've done is ruined. So I'm going to have to teach you how to reset a deck. And I'm not going to do that during this trick, but we'll just pretend you already know how to reset the deck. So, they cut it, you reset it, and now the cards are back like you want them. You've got your dummy card on the bottom, followed by your 4 cards you want. Now, as you deal the cards, here's the key. When you deal cards off the bottom, it makes a snapping sound, like that. Obviously, you can't have that. You can't have this quiet dealing that all of a sudden snap. So what you have to do is snap all the cards as you deal them. 1, 2, and you're dealing the cards. Notice how I'm snapping each time off the top of the deck, just snapping them, making sure they're sound. Now, as I deal and as I notice the people are not paying a lot of attention, when I want, I'll pull one of those cards off the bottom and give it to my partner. Or I'll give it to me, however I want to do it. Now, I've already dealt those cards off the bottom. I've dealt them to me and my partner. That's not that difficult. Just make sure, obviously, that they're not paying attention to how you're dealing the cards, and make sure you're snapping the cards every time. That's basically the key. And also, you'll be tempted to get rid of that 3 of hearts, that dummy card, and give it to them. But remember, if they were watching you shuffle the cards around, they saw that dummy card, and they probably know you're supposed to get that. Sometimes they may even not cut the cards. Like you've shown this guy the dummy card enough to where he thinks you're going to get that card, so when you set him down for him to cut, he just taps the deck. Because he doesn't even want to cut him. He wants you to get that card. So, remember that. The dummy card's there for a reason. It makes them think that you're not doing anything shady. Because why would you want the 3 of hearts, the one on the bottom? Well, you didn't, but you wanted those next 4. So, that's bottom loading. Make sure you learn how to reset the deck before you do this trick, though, when they cut the cards. I'll show you that later. But that's bottom loading. And do not use this in a card game. That's for entertainment purposes only. And it's for you to keep an eye on cheaters. When you hear a snapping sound when someone's dealing, you better keep an eye on those cards. They're probably dealing off the bottom of the deck. Now, let's backtrack a little bit here. Remember, when you cut the cards, I'll just show you the ace of spades on the bottom. If you make one cut in the deck, it's going to change the order, correct? Actually, that time, no. That was a false cut. And I'm going to teach you some, I'll teach you that false cut later, but I just want to show you that that's out there. But if I really do cut the cards, it will change the bottom card. It will change the entire order of the deck. So if someone has the deck set, one cut changes everything. Remember that. Okay, let's learn how to reset this deck. Let's pretend you've got the cards set just like you want them. And we'll just put the ace of hearts on the bottom. Now, when I set these cards down, that person will cut them, and then I will respect their cut, and then I will do something called resetting the deck. And what I did was I put the ace of hearts back on the bottom. That was actually a sloppy version of it, but I will show you close up exactly how I do this trick. And it happens in a split second. The cards are switched back just like you want them. But always remember, in a legitimate game of cards, when you set those cards down, that person is not supposed to pick up the deck and cut them or do anything with them silly. They're supposed to simply pull off however many they want to, set them down on the table, and then you are supposed to respect their cut. But you don't. You reset the deck, just like you want it. I mean by resetting the deck. How? Did you see that? How? I'll turn it upside down so you can see it a little easier. See the card on top? How? Watch, I'll take a card and I'll put it in the middle. I'll turn it over. And you watch it come to the top. Are you watching? It comes up in a split second. Watch it disappear. Boom. What I'm doing is I'm resetting the deck. Okay, let me show you how this will be done in a regular card game. I have the cards set like I want them. We'll just put the ace of diamonds on the bottom of the deck. Remember that card. I set it down. I tell the person to cut the deck. They cut. Now, I pick up the deck like I'm going to respect their cut. And as I do it, I stick my pinky finger inside the 2 decks. So inside the 2 decks, my pinky finger is inside. But they can't see that because they're in front of me. My pinky finger back here is inside the deck. Now, what I do is I reach on top of the deck. This is very tricky. This pinky finger is like a clamp. When I reach down and grab hold of the bottom deck, my pinky finger lifts up with these fingers also. They're a clamp. They lift up on the top portion, and I pick up the bottom and switch. Watch again. Now see that what that did? It put that ace of diamonds back on the bottom of the deck. Well, obviously that's very slow motion. I'll just show you again how it works. The pinky fingers inside there, lift up, down, and in. It's just a little flick. You're going to flick up the cards. Remember, you're reaching and pulling on the bottom half. Pull up. Spin them up on your thumb. See your thumb swivels that half up. Up. Let me show you a little better angle. Okay, the resetting of the deck is a very tricky move. Remember, my pinky finger's inside. I'm going to reach and grab the bottom half of the deck. I'm going to swivel this out, swivel the top out, pull up on that, it goes against my thumb, up, and put it back in place and down. Watch again. Pull out, push up and in. It's just a matter of doing this fast. That's all you're doing. When you get smooth at it, you can do it so fast that no one can even see your hands moving. Watch how your fingers, they stay in place. Don't move your fingers. Freeze them. And this is something you have to do 1,000 times before you get good at it. Obviously, never try this trick in a game of cards. This is only to show people for fun that you can reset a deck. Because just one mess up, one sound, one snapping sound of you moving cards around, and obviously you're dead. But it is fun. It's fun to show, and it's fun to show you can do this. It's resetting the deck. You had to false cut the deck. Now remember back when I showed you the false cut? I showed you the ace of spades in the bottom, I pretended to cut him, and the ace of spades was still on the bottom. It fooled you, right? Well, that's because you didn't know it was coming. So keep that in mind. Never say, hey, you want to see me false cut the deck? And then do a false cut, because obviously they know what you're doing. They're going to watch. So here again is that same false cut you saw. But remember, it's not going to look as nice because you know it's coming. I cut the cards. Where did I? Queen of clubs on the bottom. Cut the cards one time. And what do you know? She's still down there. It's very simply an illusion. This false cut is an illusion. What I'm doing is, first of all, my grip is very simple. I just take the cards, just as if I were going to split them apart. And I do split them apart, only I just take the top off, and I slide it along the bottom, along the edge, just as if I pulled it off the bottom, set the bottom down, and put it on like so. It's kind of confusing because you're pretending to pull off the bottom of the deck. Really, you're just pulling off the top. Once again, pull off the top, slide it, set this down, pull it up. Just like that. Boom, boom, boom. It's all in how you set the cards down too. You can't do it like try to be tricky about it. You just have to simply do it real fast. Just boom, boom. And don't make a big deal out of it. Okay, I'm going to show you another false cut, and this is called a false thumb clip cut. I'll show you the 3 of diamonds on the bottom, cut the cards, and 3 of diamonds on the bottom once again, and that is a false cut. Now let's see how we did that. Okay, first of all, you have to learn a regular thumb clip cut, and it's very simple. All you do is, it's kind of a cool little flourish in itself. You hold the cards, thumb at the back of the deck, the other fingers in the front. Very simply, you just take your pointer finger, pull off about half the deck, shove it across, your thumb comes in, clips the corner, pulls, and that's the cut. Once again, swivel out the top half of the cards, your thumb clips that top half, and that's a legitimate cut. See? That's a real cut. Now the fake cut is a combination of that plus this cut. That's also a legitimate cut, where you take the top half of the cards, set them on the table, set another half on top. What you're going to do is you're going to thumb clip, do a real thumb clip, clip off the cards, and now set the cards down. And that's a fake cut. Ace of Hearts. Still the Ace of Hearts. So watch again. I'm going to thumb clip top half of the cards. As I pull away, instead of setting them on top of the deck like I should, I set them on the table. And now set this on top. And that's a fake thumb clip. It takes the average person 1 hour to learn how to juggle. Now, my advice for you is make sure your juggling area is clear of any objects that you might trip and fall over. And I also advise you to try learning over top of a bed or a big huge table, because when you're first learning, you're going to be dropping the balls a lot. It's a lot easier just to reach down and pick that ball up and keep going if you're doing it over top of a bed or a table. Whereas if you're doing it over top of the floor, you've got to reach all the way down here every time you drop a ball. Okay, you need to get 3 juggling balls. Now you might use apples, oranges. I used socks whenever I was learning. Go to Walmart and get you some hacky sacks. Just something, any 3 objects. The less bounce, the better. Okay, crisscross style juggling or figure 8 style. It's very simple. You just always need to make sure you start your routine the same way every time. What I have is 3 balls. I have 2 in one hand and 1 in the other. It doesn't matter which hand you want to start with 2 in, but just always start with the same 2. I'm going to use my right hand. I'm going to put 2 in that hand, 1 in the other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip straight up in the air one of these 2 balls. It's going to go up, and as it comes down over here, this hand is going to release the ball it has and catch that falling ball. Whoop. Now as it comes over here, this hand is going to do the same thing. Switch. So it's just a matter of switching back and forth, once again in faster motion. Switch, 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 switch. Just a matter of switches. Switch. That's all I'm doing. So watch again. Start with 2 in one hand. Throw one of them up. As it comes down, throw this one up. Now it's going up through the air. As it comes down, throw this one up. And you just keep doing that. And now what I want you to do is first just try to get one switch. In other words, just throw one of these 2 balls up, straight up in the air. Not across, up. Throw it up and just switch. Just do that. Doesn't matter where this ball ends up. Doesn't matter. Just get rid of it somehow, even if you have to drop it. So throw one of these 2 up, switch, and that's it. Just try for 1, and then eventually you'll be able to get 2, like this. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. And eventually you'll get to 6, which is considered juggling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can say, I'm a juggler. Now, if you want to master it, obviously you got to get a little farther than that. And it's like riding a bicycle. When you first start riding a bicycle, you can just pedal a few steps, and then you fall over. And then a few more, and you fall over. And eventually you get to where you can just keep going forever. And you don't even need to think about it, they just keep going. And that's exactly the way juggling is. So start with 1 switch. That's all you're trying to do. Now, after you practice a little bit, I'm sure you're going to find some problems. I'll guarantee the first problem you probably had was, you remember back in the old days when you used to do this. This is a really bad habit, okay? This is not juggling. You're tossing the balls around and around. You're not juggling. and you're giving yourself a bad habit of shooting the balls sideways instead of like you're supposed to, straight up in the air. So if you're trying to do this, somehow it won't work. You have to throw the ball straight up in the air. Up, 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 up. Every throw of mine is going up in the air. Straight up. That's the only direction I throw any ball, is straight up, up, up. Now, you have to get it to a certain point. I'm aiming for a certain point in the air that I am going to try to reach whenever I'm juggling. And when you first start out, you're going to be chasing all over the place. You're going to be throwing some high, some low, and they're going to be going everywhere. But try to aim for a certain point up in the air. Here's another tip for juggling. Make sure you always throw the balls up on the inside track. And what I mean by that is, as you throw these balls up and to do your switches, obviously if you just throw it straight up, it's going to hit the other balls that comes down. So instead of throwing it straight up, make sure it goes on the inside of that ball. So every time you throw, inside, 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 make sure you're throwing on the inside track. So the ball kind of, the pattern of the ball is you come in, and the same for the other side. When it comes down, you're throwing in. That way you miss the ball. As you throw it in, it comes up in the air and it's coming down. As it comes down, your other hand is throwing on the inside. It's missing that ball. That way your balls don't hit in midair. Okay, let's start off with between the legs juggling. Very simply, I'm going to start with two balls in one hand, one in the other, just like I normally do. I'm going to start off just throwing the ball up between a leg. However I want to do it. I'll just choose this style, like this. And then I juggle regular. Once again, start off again. Once I'm comfortable with that move, I'll actually start doing it in my routine. So I'll be juggling, and I'll do it in the routine. And then once I get real comfortable, I'll just do another one in the routine, another one, and just keep going. And that's between the leg style juggling. In the back, it works the same way. I'm going to start off two balls in this hand over here. I'm going to throw one of them behind my back just to start off the routine. Then I juggle regular. Once again, start off my routine. This gets my form down. It gets me comfortable with how far I need to throw this ball. And then eventually I'll start doing it in the routine. I'm going to teach you a little variation called over the shoulder catch. And it's very simple. You're just juggling regular, and then one goes over your shoulder and you catch it behind your back. Now, this is a very difficult trick because you can't see the one you're catching. You have to learn how to throw the object up, and don't even juggle. Just do this just regular. Just throw it up and catch it behind your back. We'll pretend I can't see this ball. You just have to trust yourself to be able to throw it up, straight up, and let it drop straight down. As it comes down your back, you're going to catch it behind your back in your hand and pull it forward. And you just do this while you're juggling, and there's really nothing any great secret I can tell you other than just takes timing and practice and learning to trust yourself to catch that ball back there. You just kind of feel it drop and you catch it. That's all I can tell you. You're going to eat an apple while juggling, and it's very simple. All you're learning how to do is you have to learn how to juggle two balls with one hand, and that's really all you have to do. And it works the same way. You just start off with two balls in one hand, and you just throw one of those balls up, and as it comes down, you throw the other one up. Throw it up. It's just a switch. I'll show you here. Switch, 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 switch. Just one hand keeps switching. You throw one of them up. When it comes down, you throw the other one up as you catch it. Switch. Switch, 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 switch. That's what you're doing. Okay, so you've mastered 2-ball juggling. Now you just pull out your apple and you're going to do 3-ball juggling. And when you get to a point that you want to go ahead and eat the apple, switch to 2-ball juggling with the 2 balls in one hand. The other hand is going to eat the apple. Then put it back in, pull it out again, bite off of it. Or maybe you might want to give it to an assistant and let them take a bite out of it. Not after you, but you know what I mean. Now, before I teach you circular juggling, please master crisscross, because that's the most important style of juggling. You'll use it the most. I hardly ever do circular juggling. Now, circular juggling is just as simple as it looks. The 3 balls are going in a circle, just like when you were a little kid and you did this. You're going to do this again, only you're going to use 3 balls. You just move a little bit faster, basically, is what you do. There's no trick here. It's just a matter of throwing. Again, you're going to start with 2 balls in one hand, but it's not like crisscross. You're not going to always throw up. You're going to be throwing up some and some across. So it's like 2 things at once. You throw one up and you throw one across. Like this. Up, up, across. So you're going to throw up. While this one's in the air, you're going to throw this one up. Now you've got 2 balls in the air, and you're going to throw the one you had over here across. So it's up, up, across. Up, up, across. Up, up, across. So just do that a few times. Just try to do the 3 balls. Don't try to keep the circle going. Just do up, up, across. So this hand's going to go up, up, and this hand is going to go across. Up, up, across. And you just keep going now. Once you get good at that, you go up, up, across, 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 across. You just keep going in a circle. Circular is a lot more difficult to master, and like I say, you won't use it nearly as much. So don't beat yourself up if you can't get theater style juggling. 1 comes up, 2 comes down. All I'm doing is throwing 2 balls out to the side and 1 ball in the middle on paths. Notice how my hands come together, catch that middle ball, throw it right back up in the air. Now, we're off in a triangle. The balls are together. I'm going to throw this middle one up in the air. Now, when I throw it up, it's just going to keep going back and forth. Up and down is all it does. I'm going to throw it up. When it goes up, I'm going to throw the other balls at the same time up in the air. While they're up in the air, I bring my hands back together. I'm going to catch that one falling ball. And then again, I'm going to shoot it right back up in the air, and my hands are going to catch the 2 falling balls. So it's just a matter of throwing them up, throwing the middle one up, and then throwing the 2 up, catch the middle one, throw it back up, catch the 2, throw them back up. So it's just a matter of switching up and up. Now watch that in motion. Up, 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 up. And that's all I do. When I'm juggling, I like to throw in a few laughs, and I'll tell them that this is crisscross, this is clown style, like the clowns do, circular. You got elevator style, 1 comes up, 2 comes down. And then I'll say, and then you've got fake juggling. Now what this does is it's just for show, but it's actually difficult. What you're doing is you're juggling with one hand, just with 2 balls, and you just make the other ball move up and down with your hands. It doesn't go anywhere, obviously. It's just a matter of practicing the trick. And you try to move it with one of those balls. One of the balls that's going up, match it with that ball. That makes it look even more real, like it's some kind of juggling.
Yeah, there's another one.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey. Wham.
Okay, I'm going to show you how to grip a playing card to throw it. And this will be the same grip for any of the throws you see on the video. Okay, we have a card and we have it in front of you. Take whichever hand you're going to throw with. I'm left-handed. So what I do is I clip card like this. And that's how I throw it, using my wrist. Watch again though. Use your fingers like scissors. They're just going to clip this outside corner. Clip it. And that's how you throw the card. Okay, you've got the grip down. You know how to do that. Now, how do you throw it? When people start off throwing playing cards, they make the bad idea of putting their whole arm into it, and it goes about 2 feet, if that. But you can easily get a card to go 30 or 40 feet with wrist alone. Just simply going like this. See my arm? It doesn't move. My wrist is all that moves. So clip that playing card. Just try it one time. Clip it, hold it, and just use your wrist to throw the card. Don't use any arm. Watch my arm. Okay, now you've got the card clipped. I've already showed you how to do that. And you're going to throw with your wrist first, remember. Just the wrist. Let them fly. And those are zipping across the room. But if I really want to make them go, I add my arm to it. Once I master the wrist, you're going to transform the power of your body to your arm and then last to your wrist. So it's pow. And that really is going to get them to get some serious heat once you learn how to do that. It just takes practice. Learning to transfer the power of your wrist and your arm at the same time. You saw that one come flying right back at me off the wall. You're going to get some serious zip. Now, to get it to penetrate in the green rind of a watermelon, not to brag, but there's only a few people in the world can do that. To get that kind of heat, here's what you do. You're going to add almost like a baseball throw. So you're going to, once you master the wrist and the arm, you're going to put your whole body into it. So you're going to draw back and throw with your whole body, like this. Pow. Pow. And what that's doing, it is really, if you can even see the corner on this card, it's really butchered it up. That's really going to put some heat into it. If you practice that enough, you pull you out a watermelon. Okay, before I teach you how to throw cards into a basket, I'm going to teach you a little thing about accuracy. Now, accuracy means being able to hit a target. You've got your card clipped. You're getting ready to throw. Now remember, I taught you to throw just simply by snapping your wrist and using your arm a little bit. But first, use your wrist. Master the wrist throw. Now you've mastered that. Now put some accuracy into it. Every time you throw, you're going to bring the card back over your shoulder. Almost, in fact, you could touch it to your shoulder if you want to start with. Just touch the card against your shoulder. So it's starting off in the same place every time. So when I throw, it's always here, and then I throw. Here, and then I throw. Here, and then I throw. What this is doing, it is making sure the card goes in the same place every time. If you could see the wall back there, you'd see I'm hitting just about exactly the right place. Okay, so you want to throw a playing card and you want to make a basket from half court, right? Well, let's start off a little simpler. Let's start off first of all with just a basket of some sort, a bowl or whatever. You're going to put this in the corner of your room, and you just sit there and just keep throwing cards. And eventually you'll get to where out of 52 cards you can throw 30 or 40 in there every time. And you eventually put the bowl a little further. And that's how you build up accuracy in your throws. And remember, I taught you how to put it back of the shoulder to start with, to start your accuracy throws. Now, you're going to move on, and you're going to go to a basketball court, and you're going to get your distance. Just stand at half court and just try to throw the cards and make them hit the backboard. That's your goal. Just snap your wrist at first and your arm, and you'll be surprised. You can get them to come pretty close. In fact, you can probably get them to go full court. Distance is not the problem. The problem is getting them to go in the hoop. Because when you throw a card, it wants to just go across the top. It never wants to go down inside the rim. So here's what you have to do. You're going to have to throw that card like a boomerang. Make it go up in the air and shoot back down through the rim. Now that's not as difficult as it seems. First you're going to have to learn the boomerang throw though. The cards, and you're going to throw a card, and once you get good you can actually throw it 15, 20 feet in the air, and it'll come back to you. It'll come right back to your hand. Just do a few low throws here so you can see that it does actually work. You can actually get the card to come back several times to your hand. Put two cards together, and with a little practice, the card to come back to you. The boomerang trick. Clip the card just like you're going to throw it. What you're going to do is you're going to throw it at this angle. Throw it straight up. And then once you release it, pull back with your hand. So it's just like when you shoot a free throw. Your follow through is what makes the ball go in. Even after the ball has left your hand, what you do matters. Same thing with this trick. So you're going to throw the card, and as it leaves your hand, actually after it leaves your hand, you're going to pull back with your arm. But when you do this, it makes the card come back to you. I'm just doing some low throws here. And the card will come back to your hand. And you've seen me throw it way up in the air, make it come back to my hand. Or I can even take two cards and throw them. Here's something else. Grandma will kill me if I break this phone. Hello? Last one. I used to be good at this. I could write the alphabet. But usually I just write a kid's name. I'll just prove I can write. Your name, if I needed that. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to master spinning a basketball. What you need to do is go to Walmart, get yourself just a cheap $3 ball, and we'll be all ready to go. Okay, you've got your basketball. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to snap toss the ball. That's the professional way to toss a basketball, to catch it and make it spin. Now you see some people doing this where they just spin the ball and they try to spin it really fast and get it to work. And you can do that, of course. That works. But it doesn't work as well as this. It's a snap toss. It's a pressurized release of the ball. Here's how you do the snap toss. First, without a basketball even, just take your hands like this and feel the pressure that you can get by doing that. Because that's what you're doing. You're snapping the basketball. So you're going to take the basketball, put your hands on one side, one on the other, and just snap your hands apart, like that. Like you're spinning a top. And remember, if you've ever spun a top as a little kid, you don't just barely spin a top. You spin it as hard as you can, because you're trying to make it go as fast as you can. So when you snap that ball, you've got to snap it hard as you possibly can. Just do this, whap, and catch the ball. Don't even, just catch the ball. Don't try to catch it on a finger. Just snap it. Get good at getting that force. Getting a good hard snap. Spin the ball. Okay, the next step in the process is being able to catch the ball on your finger. Now, I want you to remember back when you were in an egg toss or a water balloon toss. If you've ever seen, you can't catch a water balloon or an egg like this. You can't just let it hit the surface. You have to catch it and pull away. Catch it and pull away. Is exactly the same way for spinning a basketball. Once you get your snap toss, okay, you're going to be dropping it on your finger. And if you noticed right there how I caught that ball, I let my hand come down. As the ball hit my hand actually comes down. So once again, watch. Snap toss, hand comes down. The hand doesn't just stay there. It has to pull down to give a little bit for that ball. Now your most coordinated finger, at least for most folks, is your middle finger. Your middle or your pointer finger, one of the two. So you need to pick one of those two fingers to try to balance the ball on. So snap toss, and I use my middle finger. Snap toss, middle finger. And notice how I keep pulling down. And when you first start off, obviously you're not going to be able to balance it that well. But just keep practicing, catch it, meeting the ball and bringing it down slightly till you have it balanced. Okay, the final phase of ball spinning. This is the one secret that most folks just don't know. And that is, if you want it to be an extremely tight spin, if you want that perfect spin, you have to get it on your fingernails. Now don't tell me you don't have fingernails, because I don't either. I bite mine off as well. But you have to get it on either the nub of one of those fingernails or just something there. If there's even a fraction of an inch of a fingernail, put it on that. The fingernail, I put it on my thumbnail actually. The fingernail allows the ball to freely flow because there's no friction there. And it'll spin for a long time if you get a really tight spin and put it on your fingernail. So that's really the most important thing. You see a lot of people that can spin basketballs pretty well on the flesh of their fingers. But if they just put it to their fingernail, they're almost at the professional level now. So that's the big secret of spinning a basketball. Put it on your fingernail. Okay, so you're pretty good at the snap toss, catching it, and it spins there for a while. You're doing pretty decent, but you want to keep that thing going. So you're going to have to smack it when it starts to slow down. Now notice how what I'm doing is I'm barely touching this ball. I'm barely grazing it. Barely. It sounds like I'm really smacking it hard, but I'm not. I'm just barely grazing the surface very quickly. Okay, to change fingers, it's very simple. You simply get the ball spinning very well. I usually start off on my thumb or my middle finger. Those are my most balanced fingers. And I go from the thumb very easily to the pointer finger. Remember to use your fingernail. And then the other fingers, you just basically put them up on the ball. There's no big secret. If someone thinks they're really good, tell them to go offhand pinky. Because offhand pinky is the toughest trick in the book. I'm going to show you some tricks later on that people like better. But offhand pinky, toughest trick in the book. Okay, this is called the 360-degree spin. And what it is I basically have the ball spinning and then I take it around and up while it still spins, of course. And it's very simple when you learn the fingering position. Basically, this is kind of difficult to see on this camera angle, but you're going to start off with the ball spinning in front of you. And obviously, without a basketball, do this first. You have to be able to turn your hand in a way that your finger keeps pointing up. So I'm going to just show you how I do it. I bring it around here. Notice how my finger is still pointing up. Around here. And now here is a very pivotal moment. I have to come up with the ball. Keep my finger pointing up in the air. Up in the air. Now here is where I twist my wrist around. Notice how my finger has never pointed in any direction other than straight up. I'll do it again. Hand like this. We're pretending, of course, the ball is on that finger. I suggest wearing short sleeves. Notice my finger still pointing up. Still pointing up, and I'm not flexible, so don't worry about this being something you have to be flexible for. Still up. Now right here is the big trick. I turn my wrist, keeping my finger still up in the air. You need to play with that for a while before you even think about putting a basketball on. Okay, let's try it with the basketball on there now. My finger's still pointing up. Still up. Notice how I turn my wrist. The finger stays pointing up in the air. It just almost, your wrist almost does everything. You're not doing this. You don't have to do it fast. You can do it slow as can be. You just need to make sure your finger always point straight up in the air. And I'm not flexible at all, trust me. I'm not flexible at all. Okay, I'm going to teach you a trick called Around the World. And if you play basketball, you've probably seen some guys out there doing this trick without a spinning basketball. That's a pretty cool trick in itself. But I've added the spinning basketball. Here's how it works. First, let's learn how to do the trick without the ball spinning. All you do is your arms are going to be in this position. Circular position for the ball to basically roll around on your arm and then your body and then your arm and your body and just keeps going in a circle. And what you have to do is, first of all, you have to let gravity help you out. Hold your arm up to start with and just let it roll down your arm. Just start with that. Just let it roll down your arm. And your other hand gives the ball a slight spin. It spins the ball like this, around. Just a slight spin. And then pretty soon it'll start going all the way around your body to this hand again. And then you spin it again. And it just keeps going around and around and around. And pretty soon you don't even hardly need to spin it. It just keeps going by itself. Well, that's Around the World without a spinning basket. Now let's add the spinning basketball to the Around the World trick. Just get it spinning, and it may not work this time. I'm just going to show you how it works. And let it roll down your arm again, same as we did when we learned it. That's all I did. I let it roll down my arm and let it come back. That's all you do. Now, this may take you a long time because you're used to the ball just very slightly spinning. It's going to be going very fast now. So, be ready. You've got it spinning. Just get good at letting it roll around, and that's all you're doing. Okay, the final step of this is actually catching the ball on your hand when it comes back around. So you're going to spin the basketball, let it come around, and come back to your finger again. Now that was a sloppy version, but if you practice and practice, you can get this thing very smooth. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to spin a basketball on pointed objects. And all pointed objects are the same. Doesn't matter on your toothbrush, on your pen to write with, on your razor to shave with. All of them work the same way. All you're doing is you're transferring the ball from your frictionless fingertip to a hopefully very pointed edge that has very little friction either. Okay, step one. Whatever object you're transferring, here's the way I do it. Always, I put it in my mouth and I put it in this way. That way I don't have any chance. Never put it in like this, because you might have an accident, obviously. Put it in like this. Now, while it's in there, I'm going to get the ball spinning, and you're going to notice I'll take my offhand, I'll pull the object out, I'll spin the object on the basketball, and immediately I will transfer. This is my offhand. Remember, it's not as coordinated. I'm going to quickly transfer my other hand and take the ball because it's the one that's the most coordinated. So remember that. When you spin the object first, start off with the the pen in your mouth. Spin the ball. Pull off the pen with your offhand. Put it underneath the object. Transfer from your fingernail. Then switch to your other hand. Okay, let's demonstrate. It's that simple. And that ball will spin there a long time on that object if it's pointed and if it's easily transferred. And if it starts to wobble, you just start it spinning just like it would be on your fingernail. And this is going to take some time. You don't want to try to do anything like go ahead and brush your teeth or shave with it or anything like that until you've mastered just putting it on an object, a pointed object, and spinning it, getting it to spin there. Now once you get good at it, once it spins there perfectly, now you can start doing very slowly. This is a dirty toothbrush. I'm not going to use it, but you see the idea. Just a few tips about spinning a ball on a pointed object. Remember, this object, when you transfer it to your hand, imagine it's still on one of your fingers. I'm imagining that it's still like my middle finger, and the coordination is the same. Also, make sure that you hold this pen or whatever the object is very firm grip, because if it's loose, there's a lot of leeway and the ball is going to roll around. So hold it very firm. Also, make sure the object, some toothbrushes or some pens are not that good for spinning. The object needs to be as pointed as possible. Of all the tricks I do, passing a spun ball to a little kid is the most beautiful thing to see. Because that kid, even if it spins there for 3 seconds, that kid loves it. They're so proud of themselves. Okay, my first tip on passing a spun ball to an audience member. Find an audience member who has decent fingernails, but you don't want some girl that's got fingernails this long, because I have actually had a poor girl break her fingernail one time. I put it on her nail and it broke and I felt really bad. So when you pick the person, try to pick someone who has, decent fingernails, but you don't want somebody that's got extremely long ones, especially ones to be worried about breaking them. Now, your instructions to the audience member are the most important thing. You can't just, remember, this person does not know how to spin a basketball. You have to help them do everything. Things that are commonplace to you, they're not thinking. So when you, first of all, a lot of times I like to spin the ball on my thumb. It's my favorite one to spin on. But a little kid or an amateur, they're not going to have any kind of coordination in their thumbs. So make sure when you go to spin that basketball, say, now, hold your finger up like this. That puts in their mind the suggestion to use their pointer finger. So I say, put your finger like this if you want to spin it. Now, once they've got their finger up there, I go ahead and spin it. It doesn't matter which finger I use now. Now, take their finger and hold on to it. Stiffen it. Make sure they get their finger very stiff. And I sometimes even say, make your finger stiff. And then I set the ball on their fingertip, on their fingernail if possible, still holding on to their finger as it spins. Now, if I can feel that they feel fairly stiff, then I may pull my hand away. Or I might say, make it stiff, hold it real tight. And that'll make them stiffen their finger up, and it'll balance it just enough to where I can pull my hand away for a few seconds, and it'll spin there. And they'll just look at it like, wow. And sometimes I'll reach in and I'll take the ball back, put it on my own fingernail and take it back right when I think it's about ready to fall off their hand. The only problem with this is every little kid in a 5-mile radius will want you to do this trick with them too. So have fun with it. It's my favorite trick. Okay, we're going to move on to the most advanced ball spinning trick on this video, and that's spinning a ball on a circular object. Now the first thing you need to do is find a circular object that's not glass. I was not wise in this choice. Alright, I changed objects to make it a little safer, and maybe I can get a little advertisement money for Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is very good, by the way. Now, I take the ball, I'm going to spin it. Set the object down for a second. Now I tilt the can, put it on the lid, and you see it will spin there. And if you practice, you can actually open the can and pour yourself a little drink. It takes a lot of practice, by the way. Alright, well, I guess that's over, and I'll give a good refreshing Mountain Dew. Okay, this portion of the video is about magic. Now, one thing I want you to know, and that is, no human being on this earth has supernatural powers. Only God has supernatural powers. That said, when you do magic, sometimes you will give the impression that you have these powers. Now, I myself always tell people, I'm always honest, look, no one has supernatural powers. Magic is just an illusion that cannot be explained. That's the way I tell it, and that's the way I advise you to tell it. I want you to remember something. When you do a magic trick, you decide how your audience reacts. If you come across as funny and a real joking guy that's cracking jokes and playing, then your audience is going to laugh. If you come across as someone very serious, very almost like spooky, then that's how your audience is going to react. So remember that. Your personality decides how they act. There are two kinds of magic, and that's stage magic and close-up magic. Stage magic is where a guy on a stage pulls a rabbit out of a hat, and I'm sitting back there thinking, this guy's probably smart enough to fool me if I was right up on him, but I'm way back here and he's up on the stage. So I was never really impressed with stage magic, although there are some really good stage magicians. But what I'm going to be teaching you is close-up magic. Magic that you can walk up to someone on the street, that you can just pull it out. Bam, you do it right in front of their eyes. And all they can say is, wow, I was standing right there and saw everything. So that's what I'm going to teach. There are some rules to being a magician. Rule number 1 is never do a trick twice. Why? Because probably someone in that audience will figure it out. So never, ever, no matter how much they beg, do it twice. Now what I always do is I've got other tricks that are somewhat related, and they'll say, oh, just do that one more time. I'll tell you what, let's do this trick, and I think you'll figure out what I was doing in the last trick. And just move right on. Obviously they won't, but that's me pushing them in the direction of another trick. This is a personal rule of mine. Always start with a trick you could do in your sleep. One that no way you could mess it up. And end with your best trick. Rule number 3, the most difficult trick. Never reveal a secret. Never reveal a trick and how it's done. Now here I am telling you how to do tricks and at the same time telling you not to reveal them. Keep in mind, there's a big difference, and any magician knows this. When you show another magician how to do a trick, there's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong is doing a trick for a whole group of audience, lay members as they're called, people that are not going to be doing magic ever, and then revealing how to do that trick. It cheapens the trick. It blows it. Just like some of these tricks that you are going to learn how to do, when you see me tell you how to do them, you're going to be like, oh, is that it? That's all you do? It's going to cheapen the trick. Because magic is normally, my last rule as a magician is never blow someone else's trick. You'd be amazed how many times I've done a trick and then someone said, oh, can I show you one? And they do the old trick where they lay out the 4 rows of cards one way and then they lay them out the other way, and they find my trick in the flower garden. And I've seen that trick 1,000 times, but every time I see it, it's like, wow, that's awesome. And then if they're like, oh, I want to show you how to do it. No, don't show me how to do it. Never reveal your trick. Now, that may seem, a little funny to you, but really, that may be a budding magician. That may be somebody that's really interested in magic. And if I say, oh, I've seen that, or worse, I let them do the trick and I start, trying to mess with them or try to tell what they're doing, that's the most rude thing I've ever seen in my life. If you ever do that, that's terrible. Never, ever blow someone else's trick. Let's see, if any volunteer, come up here.
Get Freddie over there. Can't see him.
Ready? Come on up, Freddie. All right, Freddie, put your arm down just like this right here.
Like what?
Just like mine right here. Pretty big hand. And now take it and turn it like this. And I was talking about a 360. You know a 360 done. Turn it, twist it, keep your hand flat on the ground. Keep going as far as you can. I like to get all the way around. You get a little further. Put it back down just like you had it. Okay, now move out of the way. Watch. As soon as I let somebody help me out here, watch out. You should go all the way around. And you can pull up my arm if you want. If you want to look at my arm, you can go ahead. But it is a real arm. There's no tricks or gags in that. It's just part illusion, part. I mean, if you're a gym person, I'll bet. Okay, the arm twisting illusion. This illusion will really scare people if you do it right. Now, let me show you how to do it. First, make sure you're wearing a long sleeve shirt. You have to be doing that, even though I'm going to be using my real arm. I'm not double jointed. I'm not even flexible. This trick is half illusion, it's half pain. So let's get started. Okay, I begin this trick always by having an audience member come up and demonstrate. And what I do is I always pick somebody that's a fairly heavy-set character, somebody that's not very flexible to begin with. And I bring them up here and I tell them to put their hand down just like mine. And I'll show you in a minute a close-up of exactly what to do. But you have them put their hand down, right beside yours, right here. Now, I say, I want you to take your hand and I want you to twist it, just slowly, as far as you can. And I just pull my hand up and I just watch them twist as far as they can. Of course, I pick somebody that's not very flexible anyway, so they're not going to get very far. And then tell them, okay, put your hand back down, let's try it again. And now this time, I'm going to set my arm up in a different position, and I'll show you that position here in a minute. But what I do is I put my hand down and I set it up in a different position. But it looks like that same position. I'm going to pull my sleeve up here. It looks like that same position as this. But really it's not. It's this. Looks the same. But if my arm sleeve were up, the trick would be up right now. They'd see it. But since it's down, they can't tell. Now, I say, now, let's try this again. And I say, now move your hand. And I start twisting it around. Of course, it's very easy to twist around, but I act like it's kind of difficult. And I'll say, oh, and sometimes I'll say, I'm stuck, help me, help me. Have them pull it on around for me. And then I'll get it right to here, and I'll just keep going. And then I'll even say, if you want to look at my real arm, you can look. And I tried, a lot of times they're way too scared, they won't even get close to it. I'll have to pull it out myself, and I'll show it's my real hand, and act like you're in a lot of pain. And when you first learn this trick, you're going to be in a lot of pain. Now, I'm going to zoom closer. I'm going to show you exactly how to set up your hand in this different position. Okay, remember, when you start the trick off, you're going to put it down the way you want your audience members to believe you're putting it down. So you very simply just set your hand down on the table, just straight down. And you have your volunteer do this also, right beside of you, to further show them exactly how you're putting your hand. And then you have your volunteer try to twist their arm around. And of course, that's about as far as they're going to get, unless you pick somebody extremely flexible. And like I say, always pick somebody that's fairly heavy set or muscly. That way they won't be very flexible off the get-go. Now, that's the starting position, just a flat down position. Now, let's look at our setup position. I'm going to pull my sleeve up so you can see the difference. Here's the setup position. Put your hand straight in front of you and just push down like this. Basically to where it's just like right straight in front of you. And now you're just going to twist it a little bit to the side. And you're going to find there's this tendon right here in your arm is going to hurt a little bit. When you the first 30 or 40 times, this trick actually does involve some pain. So remember that. And this is the setup position. Now I'm just going to put my sleeve down. You can see the position. And that position allows you to go all the way around very easily and fluidly. Now, how do we get in that position without it looking awkward? First of all, you need to practice this hundreds of times before you ever show it to someone. Now, what you need to do is hide this right here. Obviously, you can't be going, ugh, over the table in front of your audience members. So what you do is, that's why I have this person come up first, because after he finishes to where he can't get it anymore and he takes his hand up, I say, now, put it back down. Now watch this hand right here. I'll say, put it right back down there. Did you see that? This hand hid my little flop move. I said, put your hand right back down there. And I just hid me putting my hand down in this flop position. This hand misdirected you, and it'll misdirect all your audience members too. Now, getting it in position is just very simply putting your hand down on the table and pushing forward and then turning just a little bit to where it looks like your hand's like this. Now you're going to play with this in front of the mirror and practice it and get your angles down just right, and then try it on your grandma, okay? Then try it on one of your friends, and then start trying it on some audience members for real. A few tips if you want to really take this trick to the next level. First of all, get yourself a plastic party cup. Just a regular plastic, cheap old party cup. And put this party cup underneath of your arm, underneath your armpit. Now, what you need to do is make sure that you've got something that actually will hold it in there to where it won't fall out. Do the trick, okay? Remember, this is the arm I spin with. I put it underneath the other arm. Now, when I get to the point where I'm spinning my arm around, I'll say, I'm stuck, help me out. Pull it around. And the person will pull on it. As they pull on it, I squeeze my armpit like that. That sounds like bones are literally cracking. Now, do this trick last and leave, okay? End on this trick. Don't obviously do this trick and then walk around and do other tricks, because you've got that party cup in there. So, if you want to end on that trick, just a little tip. You ever seen a magician that could force a card through glass? Throw it at the glass and make it go through the glass, all the way to the other side of the glass even. How does he do that? Very simple. The only thing I have to teach you is how to force a card. Okay, before you can force a card through glass or make it appear in someone's back pocket or whatever, you have to learn how to just simply force a card from a deck. You have to be able to make the spectator pick whichever card you want. Now I'm going to show you the easiest force in the book. There are hundreds of them, but I'm going to show you the easiest. It's the most simple force in the world, and it works every single time. Very simply, what I do is I put the card I want to force on top of this deck. Now this time I picked the Queen of Clubs because that's the card that's through the glass. So I'm going to pick that card. I put it on top of the deck. Now simply, I already know that, so I say to the guy, hey, you want to see a trick? Take the cards and cut them one time and turn them upside down, doesn't matter where. Now he's going to cut them. Make sure your instructions are clear. He cuts them, turns them upside down, and sets it on top of the deck. Now I say, now, cut it again even deeper. Notice how I said even deeper, because he has to cut it deeper. And if he doesn't, stop him and say, remember, I said even deeper. Now he cuts even deeper, and do the same thing. Turn it upside down, set it on top of the deck. Now I say, we're going to go through these cards until we come to the first face-down card. A card we don't know what it is. I want you to memorize that card. Here it is. What do you know? It's that Queen of Clubs. It's that top card. I forced him to pick that card. Now I'm going to show you close up how this works. Here we go. Close up once again. Let's look. We have that Queen of Clubs on top of the deck. Now, I take it to a spectator. I say, you want to see a trick? Take these cards and cut them anywhere you want and turn it upside down. And he cuts them. I say, now turn it upside down and set it on top of the deck. He sets it on top of the deck. Now I say, cut it again even deeper. He cuts again even deeper. Turn it upside down, set it on top of the deck. Now I say, we're going to go to the first face down card. The card we don't know what it is. Notice how I just planted that in their mind. Obviously I do know what it is. Now, there it is. Take this and memorize it. I might even not even try to look at it, of course. And what do you know? They picked that Queen of Clubs. I forced them to pick the Queen of Clubs. Now, it's just a matter of revealing that card. The best way to reveal that card, in my opinion, is to throw it through glass. Here's how you do that. Pretty obviously, if by now you haven't figured this out, I'm sorry, but the way it works is, obviously this is already set up before the trick. I find a window that I believe no one's going to see this card up. And I go on the outside and I take a little bit of, just a hair of wax, or maybe even just wet the card a little bit and set it against the window on the outside of the glass. Now, I get my deck of cards and I find that duplicate, that card. Of course you need two decks here. You're going to take the deck you're going to use and put that card on top of the deck. Now, I just simply go to my card force them to pick that card, and then I say, okay, now, I take the card and I lose it in there, maybe shuffle the deck up. I say, now, with one pick, I'm going to pick your card. Bam, is that your card? And they're going to say, no. If you accidentally pick it, bam, that trick's over. Move on to the next trick. Don't even worry about forcing it through glass. But most generally, they're going to say, no, that's not it. And I'll be like, what? And I'll be like, you got to be kidding me. And I'll take the deck and I'll throw it against that glass. All the cards splatter except for one card. Of course, you've already got it set up. All the cards fall down except that one card. And somebody, I guarantee, will run over and be like, oh my gosh, that's the card. And they'll try to get it, and they'll realize it's on the other side of the glass. And they'll say, it's on the other side of the glass. And that's forcing a card through glass. Just a few tips on forcing a card through the glass. First of all, always do this first, because obviously you don't want this card to be seen, so do it first in your routine. And what I always do is, like, I'll pick a window that I know no one's going to really be looking at, maybe even off in the next room, maybe right beside the room we're in. And then as I do the trick, I'll be standing right between the two rooms, and then I'll just turn and throw the cards at that window. You know, eliminate the possibility that they might see this. And if somebody accidentally does see it stuck up there in a glass, before you do the trick, just be like, you know, I was outside throwing cards and probably one of them stuck up there. Say you don't want to go to the trouble of putting a card up in the glass, or maybe you can't go to that trouble right now. I'm going to show you how to do the same force and reveal it in a way just as good. And what you do is you do the same exact trick to start with. You take whatever cards you want to reveal and put it on top of the deck. we've got the Queen of Clubs up there, so we'll just stay with her. Now you tell the person to go ahead, cut the deck and turn it upside down. Now say cut it again even deeper. And now, again, you say we're going to go to the first face down card, the card we don't know what it is. And now when you get to that, say this is the card you've chosen. Now I want you to look at this card, and I'll even turn my back, or I may even leave the room. Say look at it, memorize it, and then lose it in the deck. And they're going to lose it in the deck. They're going to shuffle the cards and lose that card in the deck. And now, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to take these cards and I'll be able to find your card just by the feel of it. I'll say, now if I come to it, don't say anything. Keep going. And once I get to it, actually I've already gotten to it right here. Once I get to it, I'll pass it by 3 or 4 cards. Now I'll say, now, I'm willing to bet that the next card I turn over is your card. And when they say, sure, don't use this to make money, of course. You can even say, obviously if you'd say, put down $5, I'll bet the next card I turn over will be yours. Now if they think you're going to turn this card over, and they'll say, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I reach down and I say, bam. And I turn their card upside down, turn it over. And the trick's on them. It's called I bet it's your card. Okay, this is a close-up of that trick. I want you to see exactly how I do it. Now we're just assuming that I've already done the trick where I force them to pick that Queen of Clubs or whatever card you put on top of the deck. And they've lost it here and they've shuffled it, lost it. Now you say, okay, I'm going to go through here. When I come to your card, don't tell me it. I should know it. Remember, don't stop me. I'll know when I come to your card. Now notice, I've already came to their card. Right here it is. Now I'm going to say, now, are you willing to bet that the next card I turn over will be your card? Of course they will, because they think you're going to turn this card over. And when they say yes, you reach down, you take their card, bam. Yeah, every time I do this trick, it always reminds me of the time I ran across a guy doing this trick, and he was trying to take people's money. And I never break the rule of not blowing a magician's trick, but just this one time I couldn't help. So he did it to me. I know he did it to some other people, and he did it to me. And he got to the point where he was getting ready to, he turned the cards down, and he said, now, are you willing to bet the next card I turn over will be yours? And I said, yeah. He said, well, you bet $20. And I said, well, will you make it an even 100 and shake on it? And now, of course, one of his hands is holding the deck. His other hand was shaking my hand. While he was shaking my hand, I took my free hand, and I pulled out my card, and I stuck it in my pocket, and I said, okay, go ahead. Of course, he was busted. So remember, even though you think you may be slick, you may think you can take someone's money, gambling will always burn you in the end. The original pick a card, any card trick. And it's the easiest trick in the book. Even a 3-year-old kid can learn how to do this trick. Very simple. Let's start off by just demonstrating the trick. We'll pretend we have an observer. I say pick a card, any card. And the spectator picks their card. Now I say memorize that card. They look at it and I say now stick it back inside the deck, anywhere you want. And they stick it back inside the deck. Now I say bam. I'm going to pick your card in one pick. Is that your card? And they're going to say, no, that's not my card. And you're going to say, what? Are you sure? And they're like, yeah. And I say, okay, let me see if I can use this card to find your card. Now I do a table spread. You may have seen me do this. And if you have this video, you know how to do this. And I use that card to find their card. One card will be turned over in this big spread. And it's theirs. Magic. Okay, let's learn how to do this trick. It's very simple. The only thing you need to do for this trick is to turn one card over, and that is the bottom card. Turn the bottom card of the deck over. Now, you say pick a card, any card. When they pick the card, you simply pull the deck back, and while they're not looking, while they're looking at their card, you are turning the deck over, upside down. Now, you're going to say, now, you got it memorized, put it back inside the deck, anywhere, just loosen the deck. And they're losing in this deck. Now look what they're losing it in. A marked deck. They're all face up except for that one on top. They don't know that though. Hold the cards pretty tight too, of course. Now as they put it in there, all you got to do is get rid of that top card. So you say, I'm going to pick your card out of the deck in one pick. Bam. No, you didn't. But of course, the object was just to get rid of that card. And they'll say, no, that's not it. Now, you can fan the cards out in a table spread fashion. Fan them out face up. And one card will be upside down. Or if you don't know how to do a table spread, just simply show them the cards. One card's turned upside down. What do you know? It's their card. There are a few mistakes you can make that will really screw this trick up. So let's go over those to make sure you don't do those. The first trick is the person, when you say pick a card, any card, they might try and pick the bottom card. Obviously they can't because it's upside down. So if they start reaching for that bottom card, keep it tight and say, not the bottom or the top. Obviously I can see those. Don't let them pick the bottom card. Okay. If they pull that out somehow, the trick's over. So remember that. Step one, don't let them pick the bottom card. The next mistake, whenever they look at their card, while they're looking at their card, you're supposed to be turning the deck upside down. Now, you'll be surprised, you do this trick, they'll look at it, and you'll say, okay, now loosen the deck, and then you'll remember, oh shoot, I didn't even turn the deck over. So here's what you do to cover. You say, wait, show it to everyone. And now, while they're showing it to everyone, for goodness sakes, turn that deck upside down, and now go on with the trick. I'm going to show you the French drop. And that's simply how it works. Here is how the chip or quarter or whatever object you're going to use sits. Right on the edge. Just as if we were getting ready to drop off your hand. Right on the edge. And put your thumb on it. Now, it's called the French drop, and very simply all that happens is this quarter or this chip drops. Without moving this thumb, it's very key. Don't move your thumb, just let the chip fall back into your hand. And you have to work on your angles to where they can't see that chip at all when it falls. Now, it's just a matter of bringing the hand in as if you're grabbing it, and right at the moment when it covers, boom, that chip drops. So once again, the hand comes in, the chip drops, and you pull it away. But the most important part of this whole process is right here. Your eyes are what fool them. Now it's hard to get this in the camera angle here, but watch. When I do this trick, I show someone, I'll say watch. And I will literally watch the chip, then I will watch where it's going, and then boom. My eyes fool them. My eyes watch where the chip's supposed to go. First I watch here, then I watch here, boom. Another way magicians fool you is they palm objects. Now, I have a quarter palmed in my hand right here, and as you see, if you really get good at palming things, you can let your hands be very free. Fingers can all move. The quarter still doesn't fall out. I can even act like I'm trying to throw it. It won't go anywhere. And this is a great illusion because I can act like I throw it places. Like for example, if I want to throw it to that hand, boom, it's gone. Boom, it's gone. This works a lot better with a ball. If you take a ball, boom, it's gone. It gives the illusion that the ball is really leaving your hand. But it's really right here, it's stuck. Now let's learn how to palm an object. First of all, your hand, every hand is different. You're going to have to find the exact spot where you like to palm things. For me, it's right here. And once I get that pushed in there, it'll stay there. It'll not come out. Now this took weeks of me holding a coin in my hands and palming it while I was watching TV, while I was when I taught school. I had quarters palmed in each hand. You know, everything I did, I had a quarter palmed in that hand. You have to get your hand comfortable to palming. This won't happen the first time. You can't just stick it in there and it's going to stay the first time. It's going to take a little practice and your hand getting used to this. So just push it in there and just try to do things normally and naturally. This one's a crowd favorite, the old quarter batting illusion. As you can see, ordinary quarter. Wash it. And it comes back to place. Okay, so is this an ordinary quarter? It looks like an ordinary quarter, but it's not. This quarter is flexible. It bends. But it does look real. This quarter is the only thing in this entire video that if you want, you're going to have to go out and buy. Now, I suggest Brad Burt's Magic Shop online. Now, I'm sorry that there was something on this video that you literally do have to go out and buy. I really didn't want that, but it's such a favorite trick, I couldn't help but put it on the video. People love this trick. Now, how do you pull this trick off? Because after you do it, people will want to see this quarter. So it's very simple. Here's what you do. In your hand, you need to have a real quarter. And you don't need to even have it palmed or anything. Just have it in there. Just hold it somehow. Now, do your trick. Now, for a split second, I guarantee, because I've done this hundreds of times, everyone in that audience will be like, whoa. I mean, they'll look away. I mean, you would think they'd want to look at that quarter, but they will look away. They will be in total amazement. Some people will totally walk away. During this split second, you can't wait but a second. You have to switch. I already did it. But you have to switch those quarters. Just pull your hands down, and while they're down there, you just simply pull them apart, and you pull this quarter out, and you say, wait, watch. You can still see it bending. Actually feel it. You can feel the heat off of it. And see, this is just a normal illusion. If you take any quarter and just kind of bend out and in like that, it gives the illusion that you're bending the quarter. Obviously, this is the real quarter, even though it looks like I'm bending it from this angle. Now, when they reach and they touch it, actually give it to them. Say, take it, look at it. Now, while they're taking it and looking at it, and everybody will want to hover over and look over that thing, you put that fake quarter in your pocket or somewhere where no one will ever find it, and the trick's over. The levitation trick I'm going to be teaching you is called the Balducci levitation. And it's actually a very popular trick, and it's going around America right now, so you may have actually seen this trick already, or you may even know how to do it, but I'm going to teach you exactly how to make sure it's perfect and just how to avoid slip-ups when doing this trick. Because this trick is, of course, like anything else, it's a trick. You can't actually float off the ground. No one can. We don't have supernatural powers, but you can give the illusion of doing this, and you can really put it in their minds that you can float off the ground. Okay, the secret to this levitation is very simply, one of my feet is on the ground. You can't see that because I put you at the perfect angle till you cannot see that. One of my feet raises off the ground, but the other one is still there. It's just I'm standing on my toe. Basically like this. Raising up on one foot. That's all I'm doing. I'll show you from this angle. Raising up on one foot. But from the perfect angle, it's hard to get a camera at that angle actually. A person is much easier. But from the right angle, it looks like you're floating off the ground. Now let me show you how to get the person at that right angle. It's much easier than a camera. The person, we'll just pretend this basketball is a person. Have the person stand straight and say, now, stand right here and catch me if I fall. Now you're going to take 3 steps. Of course you don't say, okay, now I'm going to take 3 steps. You just kind of casually take 3 steps. 1, 2, 3 steps. And then take about a half a step to the right. About like this. Now, that basketball is now at the perfect angle. Now I say, okay, watch my feet. I'm going to try to get off the ground. I'm not sure if I can. And then I simply raise up on that foot, bam, fall down. Make sure that when you raise up straight, perfectly straight. And keep your foot flat in the air. Like if here was the ground, make sure that foot that raises off stays like this. And have it stay right there. And then when you fall, when you're coming down, make sure you actually take a little bit of a hop, just a hair of a hop, like, and act like you're falling down, like you're literally crashing down from midair. Then, turn around. Look at your people and say, how high did I go? And they'll say, yeah, about that high. You're putting a suggestion in their mind. How high did I go? You're forming a suggestion. They're going to think, oh yeah, he went that high. Wow. So remember, the whole trick is angles. It's getting the person to stand at the right spot. You take your 3 steps, you step to the right, or you step to the left, whichever one you want to do, and then simply, you're just raising up on one of your feet, on your tiptoe, and you have to get good at balancing. Raise straight up on your tiptoe, keep your other foot straight out, and then, after a few seconds, drop, land, turn around. How high did I go? It's that simple. And that's the Balducci levitation. Have fun with it. Make sure of this. You only do it for 1 to a maximum of 3 people. If you've ever seen a magician do this on TV, you'll see he always puts like 2 or 3 people together, has them stand real close, because he has to get them at the exact right angle to show them this trick. So make sure 2 or 3 people. And what I suggest is pull aside, if you're like a grouping, a gathering of people, pull the most gullible people you can find aside, 2 or 3 people, put them together, do this, and then it'll spread throughout the party that you can float. Of course, I would certainly play it off as I only do that trick once. You know, I was actually really tired after, like, whoa, how high did I get off the ground? You know, you have to play this trick up a little bit. It's a lot more mind work, but if you get your angles right, it will really fool people. What if you could always know whether the coin was heads or tails when you flipped it? Well, there's a little secret that a lot of people don't know, and that is that when you flip a coin and you turn it over, I can tell this is going to be tails. And I was correct. And I can be correct every single time. Not because I have quick eyes, not because anything of that. Because a quarter has a different feel to it. If you take a quarter, people just don't know this, but if you take a quarter and you take your thumb and you rub the head side, it's completely smooth. Whereas if you rub the tail side, it's very rough. You can definitely tell the difference. So when you flip a coin and you catch it, as you're turning it over in midstream, practice this, of course. Rub with your thumb. If I feel it smooth, I call the opposite of smooth, which would be tails. If I feel it rough, I feel it's tails where I'm rubbing, then I call heads. And you have to play with this, of course. You'll figure that out. But simply to know that one side is very smooth, one side is very rough, and you can, in midair, come up with this conclusion. Okay, this is called how to increase your odds in a drawing. And what I'm talking about is any kind of drawing at your supermarket or any kind of raffle of any sort where you fill out ballots, your name and address or whatever, and you drop them in a box, and then they draw out a winner. Now, how do we increase our odds? Well, look at these 2 ballots. There's nothing different about them. Same size, same shape. But if I take one of these ballots and I fold it like so, like a fan, back and forth. This will increase my odds tremendously. If I take my ballot, as you can see how I folded it like a fan, like an accordion type thing. Now look at the difference in my ballots. Look how much thicker this accordion is. Imagine if you were reaching into a box and you're pulling out ballots. That accordion, it almost sticks to your hand. It's so big, so thick. It's like 20 or 30 thick. So, if you fill out your ballots like an accordion, you drop in 100. That's like dropping in, if they were 30 thick, it'd be 3,000. So instead of 100, Joe Smo fills out 100 tickets, and you fill out 3,000. Who do you think's got better odds of being drawn? Now, of course, it doesn't guarantee you'll win, even though I've won a few drawings. It doesn't guarantee it, but it'll definitely increase your chances. I put this trick on here for the moms that bought this video for their kids. Go to the supermarket and win you a brand new car. Come on and take me for a drive in it. This is science at its best. What we have here, and no joke, this is what we have. A glass, a regular glass, a regular quarter, and then we have two forks entwined at the end of that quarter, and they are balancing on the edge of that glass. No objects are touching that glass except for the quarter. This is not an illusion. This is not magic, it's science. I cannot explain why this works. I do not know why it works. But the quarters are balanced there. Back when I used to be really good at doing this trick, I could actually take a drink out of the water. I would not even dare try that now. Yes, it will not stay there forever. Now, let's learn how to do that trick. It's very fun to set up and just what's really fun is to wake somebody up in the morning and say, come look at this, look at this, look what I found, and show someone how the forks will balance there on the quarter and not fall off. Okay, for this trick you need a glass. It's an ordinary drinking glass, two ordinary forks, but forks of the same exact kind. It must be the exact same brand of forks. And you need any ordinary quarter. Three objects, very ordinary objects. Now, you simply interlace, or I should say just put on top of each other the forks in this way. Just set them on top of each other. Now, turn them forward. Stick the quarter through the top ring of the forks, like so. And just, there you go. All you do now is you're going to play with the glass. You're going to set it on the edge of the glass. And when you set it just right, it will balance perfectly on the edge of the glass. Card palming is very easy. It's very simple. All I'm doing is I've got the card in this position. I'll show you a little close-up. In this position, the thumb, take the card and hold just like this. Put the thumb on the bottom of the card. Put two middle fingers on the card. Now, all you're going to do is flip the card backwards like this. Flip it back and take your two outside fingers, it'd be your pinky and your pointer finger, and they catch the card and they bend it just like that. And that's how it looks on the back of your hand. You can't see that, and from the front all you could see is maybe just a little bit of white there. If you're really paying attention you might see it, but if you keep that back a little bit and keep your hand moving, they won't even see that. So that's the palm position. And when you're learning, you may just want to take the card and just set it on the back of your hand, squeeze down, and just kind of get the feel for how it looks. And in a mirror, show your hand moving without showing the card. Now, to reproduce the card, all you do, very simply, you're going to pull these two middle fingers out and snap the card forward. Snap into your thumb. And this takes more practice than the palming. The palming is very easy. The reproduction, making it snappy, is a little more difficult. If you do it right, you should hear a little snap. My fingers are getting, this card's getting a little bent too. You want to make sure you use a brand new card. Gives it more of that snap. So watch again. You're going to hold it out from the spectator. You're going to move it like this, and then boom, boom. Remember, keep the card moving. You might even look up in the air like, whew, bam. And you can also do this with 2 cards in both hands. Bam. Well, that's the end of my video. I'm going to tell you a little secret. This video was created for the sole purpose of building your self-esteem. I want you to be able to go to a club or to a party. When people come up to you, I want them to be asking you to do a trick, trying to get you to do magic or something like that, not trying to get you to drink or do drugs. And if they do, I want you to be able to resist it because you know what you're capable of right now. So take what I've given you and please, please stay away from drugs.